Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host, Jay Murph, and today I'm going to give you some investor perspective on how I see things and what's going on in the cryptocurrency space. Now, I've just been a crypto investor for 4 years, so not for forever, but I have been an investor in real estate and other things and a professional buyer for an investment company. So I think I've got some experience in investing, and I'd like to share with you my thoughts as an investor, how I look at things. So let's go ahead and get this party started, because I want to share with you two huge mistakes that push people out of the market for good and they miss out on massive gains. Don't make these mistakes. Let's get this started. Join me, Rainmakers. All right. Do want to thank all of you for joining me on this journey. I've only had this YouTube video, or the YouTube channel, that I've been uploading videos to for about 5 months, and thank you to all 10,200 of you that have believed in me and liked the perspective that I share with you on this channel. Like I said before, I'm just an investor. I don't know everything. I'm not even always right. I'm just often right. And I like to share with you an investor perspective on things. Now, I think economics and the psychology behind buyer behavior all the time. And it made me really good in the investment space for real estate acquisitions and other things, which is why a big company put their faith into me to head all their acquisitions for the region. And so, I like to think I'm good at making good buys and analyzing what is a good buy, as well as, investment in general. Although, do note that none of this is financial advice. I'm just sharing with you how I break things down, how I look at it, and how I think about it. So if you're interested in that kind of content, subscribe to my channel and you get a lot more of that. Turn on the bell notifications, because I like to give perspective, as well as share with you what I'm interested in. So I'm going to go over a lot of perspective today, as well as two big mistakes people make that push them out of the market and they miss out on a lot. And these are common. I see a lot with new people. And these can ruin a great opportunity for you. So we'll go into that, as well as at the end I'll tell you some things I'm watching closely because I'm liking what's happening with the price action. So these are my videos, by the way. You'll see videos on all kinds of things, particularly the ones that I am interested in buying and what's going on. And some of them you'll notice are NFTs and collectibles in here. I only like those for this time period, particularly the next number of months, because I think some of them will do particularly well. But generally, I'm a cryptocurrency investor, and an investor in general. I like things that appreciate. So let's go ahead and look at one of the best appreciating assets of all time. That's Bitcoin. And so this is on TradingView, the Brave New Liquid Coin Index for Bitcoin. I like this because it's got a lot of history on it. And so that I can go back all the way to 2010 here and look at the history when Bitcoin was trading at 7 cents. But most importantly, I like these two past cycles, because that's what we tend to be repeating here. See, our first halving wasn't until 2012. And so then we had this big run up, the first run up after a halving in 2013, and I look back to that to get some idea of what might happen this year, as well as I look at 2017, which is the bull run that followed the year after the 2016 halving. So we had a halving in 2020, and we're in the middle of 2021, and we're all trying to make our best guess for what's going to happen here. Now, if you look back to 2013, we did have this big run up here, followed by a big retracement. Now, back then it ran all the way up to $250 US, but then crushed the heck out of a lot of people's spirits by going all the way down to $71. But then it kind of traded sideways here, and then it went whom all the way up here. So, a little bit of perspective on one of the big mistakes that people make that keep them, I guess, in a bad position. And I made this when I was newer. I have some friends that made this mistake, is when they go through big retracements like what we went through this weekend, what happens is they get scared and they sell and they put it on the sidelines. They read things like, oh my gosh, this might fail. They put their money on the sidelines in USD, only to then watch it jump way above the price that they bought in at because they don't know where to make a good re-entry, and so they end up buying back a lot more expensive. And one of my good friends, he made that mistake. I've made that mistake myself. That's why when he didn't tell me that he sold a bunch of his Bitcoin for US dollars, and then he had to buy it back in at like 40% higher. And I made almost that exact same mistake when I was new. Not because I was actually scared. I wasn't scared. I was just looking for a better re-entry price. However, I found that if I watch the prices every day, it stresses me out. And so I wasn't watching the prices every day, and I kind of got busy with life. This was in the bear market when it gets a little bit boring. And then the price jumped up tremendously. I think I cashed in like a bunch of Bitcoin at $5,200 to US dollars, expecting to buy back, and it went down to 4,800 from there. And then before I knew it was 7,200, and I got some fear of what if it keeps going up, and I bought it back in at $7,200. And so I lost Bitcoin doing that. So what I do now is I don't usually cash out my Bitcoin position into US dollar. In fact, almost never. What I do is when these big dips happen, I just buy more Bitcoin with USD. Make sense? So did I do that with this drop? I sure did. I also used this chance to pick up some other things I'm interested in. I'll share with you one of those pickups later on. Okay, the other thing I want to look at is Bitcoin dominance. Now, it's interesting what's been happening with Bitcoin dominance. We don't have a lot of good history to look at. Now, Bitcoin dominance chart reflects Bitcoin's total market cap dominance versus the altcoins. And so, really, 2013, we don't have anything to look at so much. It's 2017, but this is when like Ethereum and XRP and other altcoins finally started to have their use cases become relevant. And we see Bitcoin's dominance fell tremendously and then ran up, fell tremendously, then ran up, fell tremendously. And so when it fell tremendously, what that really was an altcoin rally. And this being a gigantic altcoin rally that happened there. So we saw this year some interesting things. So Bitcoin from September through the end of December really had a massive overall rally. You can see a little bit of a head and shoulders pattern that played out here, and then it's just Bitcoin's dominance has fallen a ton, and a lot of altcoins have picked up a lot of the steam. What I'm expecting is after this pretty big fall is that we're right at a resistance level of right here. I wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin take a run. Now, I don't know how this will play out. That's just what the chart's suggesting is likely to happen, and it may. The charts don't tell you what will happen. They just tell you what's likely to happen. All right. So how will that play out? Well, maybe Bitcoin will finally run up to the 75,000 mark, and we'll see. What I have done is I've diversified myself mostly out of Bitcoin into altcoins, because from here to the top of the market, the altcoins that I like, I think they have better potential for bigger gains than Bitcoin from here. So in my estimation for my own portfolio, let's just say Bitcoin goes from where it's at right around 50,000, it goes to 200,000. Well, that's fantastic. That's a 4x. And everybody in stocks would be like, oh my gosh, that's unbelievable. Nothing hits a 4x in like 6 months. That's crazy. But we know in crypto that that's actually just pretty good. And I did, up until about a month and a half ago, hold a lot of Bitcoin reserves. I did go ahead and just put them into altcoins because, I mean, we've been trading sideways for a while, and I think I actually cashed them into altcoins at a higher price than it's currently at. Now, I do expect it'll run. I'm not going to go ahead and cash those out into Bitcoin. I'm just going to let it happen whenever it happens, and that's okay. I'm going to catch the ride from there as Bitcoin then rides up, and then that brings in a lot of money into Bitcoin, into cryptocurrency. And then a lot of the new money discovers altcoins. And then they sell some of their Bitcoin to get into altcoins. And that pattern seems to play out in the bull market. At least it did really heavily in 2017. And we've already seen a couple cycles of that. So what usually happens is Bitcoin runs up, and say it runs up to 75,000. And all these people that have been looking at it thinking, I need to get some, all of a sudden they get serious and they finally buy some Bitcoin. And that starts them down the rabbit hole of then they're buying some altcoins. And so then they sell some of their Bitcoin into altcoins. And so, yes, I could try to trade this and sell some of my altcoins into Bitcoin, catch that right up, and then have a better position to buy. Just not going to. I don't want to watch it every day for that perfect entry and every minute. That just creates anxiety in my life that I don't need. You know, I've been doing this for a while. I've done really well. And I just actually appreciate some quality of life as well as life-changing gains that cryptocurrency has been providing. So, one of the other big questions is, are we at the end of the bull run? I would be absolutely shocked if we were. Now, some bad news came out for U.S. investors in that President Joe Biden suggested that they were going to try to get short-term capital gains raised to like 44%, which is ridiculous, but who knows? Democrats control the Senate and the House. Tight margins on the Senate could happen for U.S. investors. So we'll see. You could see a whole flock of U.S. investors moving to Puerto Rico for their no capital gains, actually. Who knows what will happen, but realize that U.S. investors only make up a small portion of everyone buying crypto. And so, yes, small portion with some money, but it could impact things. It's not going to make crypto go away. Now, we could have other bad news that, brings the market back further. What if all of a sudden Joe Biden has floated the idea of finally getting serious about passing clarifying regulation, and they could try to get in and be very strong-handed. Or they could just come in and make it easy. Just realize that the Biden administration has huge ties to the tech giants. And a lot of the tech giants are heavy into Ethereum and other things. A lot of Silicon Valley is tied to Ethereum and Ethereum development. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. I don't know what to expect there. We just play it as it comes. Overall, still are in the middle of a bull market. I expect we'll have much higher points from here, and I'm betting with my own dollars. As to what you do, that's really up to you. All right, so I did want to give you some perspective of if we've had these kind of things before, and I wanted to talk to you about the second biggest mistake I see happen so frequently in this. And what happens is I see new investors when they go through a big retracement. What often happens is usually you really start to get serious about cryptocurrency during a big run up like this. And you're like, I've missed out on so much. So you throw everything you have into it just in time for a big retracement. And just know it's normal, because we finally get serious when some massive gains have happened. It just is human behavior. And we get in there, and after a massive run has just happened, guess what follows a massive run? A pullback. Even in a bull market, you sometimes have pretty big pullbacks that are just kind of like a reset. Can then run from there, and they're healthy and they're normal. And so what happens is they put in everything then to watch their heart drop to the floor as this retrace happens. Guess what they do? They sell and they peace out. And what they miss out on is some bigger things. So that, I wasn't around here, but that there was a lot of that happened here. In fact, if you look at some people who bought this wick up, only to have it retraced to $73, that they could have bought in at $240, have it retraced to $75, and I imagine that hurt a lot. And they pieced out. And they sold out everything, and they licked their wounds, and they're like, and so they just pieced out emotionally, and they missed out on some massive, massive gains that if they had just held on, they could have sold it for double, triple, quadruple, right? So when these kind of things happen, you're tempted. In fact, you're probably not even watching this video if this is happening to you, and that's okay. I realize human behavior. I mean, psychology and economics go hand in hand far more than most of us think. And so, there's probably some people that have pieced out already. They've emotionally checked out. So I realize they're probably not even watching this video. But if you are, I hope you're getting this. Don't piece out. This is a little bit of preparation for when the major wealth cycle and the life-changing wealth will come, and that's those who stay around long enough to buy in the next bear market. So you got a little taste of how hard it is to buy in the bear market. because it's hard emotionally, because our emotions play all kinds of tricks on us. And so we had this massive run up and then a big retracement, and this is a great time to be buying usually, but it's the hardest time to be buying because our emotions play games with us, and this is when we're the most tempted to sell. Now, my best guess is we'll have another major run from here, and I'm going to be taking profits on the way up there. I don't know where the top is, so I'll be harvesting small gains, small gains, small gains, and I will be taking them out of crypto in general. My best guess. I don't know for sure because I'm not exactly sure what to roll it into at this point. I'm looking every week for good assets or something that I can roll it into because fiat currency has some worrying things about it. But as we hit this bigger run sometime later this year, I will be at least cashing out to fiat. And if I can't find a better vehicle to put in, it might be sitting in fiat while I sit on the sidelines for what inevitably follows every massive run. And maybe this time is different. We won't have a big retracement, but I don't think it's going to be different. I think we'll have another massive retracement. And I'd rather have my money on the sidelines during that because I want it ready to go to buy again during the bear market. Because this is where some massive gains came for me, is I was buying through this whole period here in the bear market. And so what you're feeling right now is a little bit of practice for that. But this is when you make the biggest gains, when you make life-changing wealth. Okay, you're going to learn some lessons through the bull market, and that's great. And if you're really smart, you're going to stick around for some good buys about a year or year and a half after the peak of the bull market. And if you're really smart, you'll stick around even during that bear market when it's falling. Not necessarily have your money in, or whatever choices you make, that's on you. But the education that you can make, and you can learn what projects you really want to make some good pickups at the bottom of the market are. And sometimes it's hard because you don't know where the bottom of the market is. We had this cycle throw us off completely. So we came all the way down to 3,200, only to have this run up to almost 14,000. Now, this was caused by one pyramid scheme in China called One Token or something that got all these people in China invested in this network marketing company that they had to buy Bitcoin and then roll it into, and it was some kind of pyramid scheme. And so it gave us this pump in the middle of the bear market that should not have happened, but it did. And we were all wondering, what the heck is this? It's way too early for it to be going up. Is it going to keep going up? What is this happening? And eventually, as that pyramid scheme fell apart, as they always do, well, then the price dropped all the way back down to here. And then March, we had this huge amount of fear that everything was going to collapse because of the coronavirus, and the U.S. locked down everything, and the stock market fell tremendously, and Bitcoin fell with it. And then I started this long climb up here. So I consider this the end of the bear market and the beginning of the bull market, just like when we hit a top, which we won't know till after exactly where the top was, but that'll be the end of the bull market, and then we'll have a long climb downwards. And so if you think about it, let's do a little bit of a ruler on here, how long this took. So we are on a weekly timeline, and to the full end of the bear market in this case, that was 117 bars, so essentially 2 years later. So roughly 2 years later. Now this was a golden period for me because this is where I continued to educate myself. Now it's hard to stay tuned every day. I didn't stay tuned every day. I stayed tuned every week, a couple times a day. I was paying attention, learning, and educating myself, and usually actually at least a couple hours a day, even if I wasn't watching very closely. There were some YouTube people that I followed, and I would listen to their analysis. And I did go ahead and pay the $10 or whatever a monthly fee is, so I don't have to listen to any ads. I strongly suggest that to all of you, because what is your time worth? Now, some of you, $10 is like a month's worth of income, so I get it if you don't pay the ads. But if $10 is more than your hour, of your time, like if you earn more in an hour of your time than $10, I strongly suggest that you go ahead and do that, because it will save you so much of your time so that you're not wasted with ads. For $10 a month, fantastic deal, because that helped me stay tuned and not having to listen to ads. because I listened to all kinds of different perspectives during this, and I learned and I learned and I learned about different projects, and I made some really good pickups during this time that have done tremendously life-changing wealth, as well as it prepared me well for this bull market. So I bought in late October, and I absolutely got crushed. I did very well, but I didn't take any gains here and absolutely got crushed here. But I stuck around. I'm okay with mistakes. They're frustrating. They're frustrating to me too, just like they'll be frustrating to you. But I don't leave after I make a mistake. Why? Because I learn from my mistakes, and that's the biggest lesson there that you can make. Even if you miss taking gains in this bull market, and I hope you take some gains and take them outside of crypto, so that you're very prepared during the next crypto winter. But when it comes back and it reverses, and it can be frustrating, we hate staring in the face what we could have done. So what often happens is we just shut off emotionally to it, and we just leave the space. If you do that, you'll be missing out on life-changing wealth, because those that stayed in here have made massive, massive gains. Even if you didn't have tons of capital to work with, but you put in everything extra you could. Now, if I had captured my gains here, I would have had a fortune to be able to invest during here. It would have really amplified how well I did. But you know what? Honestly, all the stuff I bought here, I didn't sell any of it. Retraced tremendously. So some of it just died. It went away. It'll never come back. And some of it has come back, and some of it's starting to. All right, so for those that are sticking around, I want to share with you two, actually, that I'm following. Well, should I share with you one other thing? Let's do it. Okay, so our bull run really started last year, and I wanted to share with you July 1st, there was a takeoff that happened in the DeFi space. And I want to show you how things can take off and then retrace, and it's not a big deal. I mean, Chainlink absolutely skyrocketed. This is... I don't want to look at it versus the WAN link, but I wanted something big. I wanted something with some history to it, and a lot of the stuff I was looking at did not have history, and that was frustrating because I need to be able to look back. Darn it. Well, we're going to have to do it this way. Chainlink, I want to be able to show you what happened last July 1st in this massive DeFi run-up that caught many of us off guard, that we've been around for a while, and I didn't really wrap my head around what DeFi was. It took me a little bit. But we had this massive run starting July 1st, and it went from essentially $4 all the way up to, I think... Really, this says 19, but I think it hit $21. And then it had this big retracement all the way to here. And see, maybe this is what we're going through, is this big retracement after some big gains very early in the bull run year. So I'm surprised that things have gone up as high as they have already, and I wouldn't be too surprised if we have this retracement here. And so it went from just over $20, even though it doesn't show it here. And it went down almost to more than half. It went down 2/3 from that high. And so this blew some people out, that they sold out and they left the space and they were frustrated. But look what Chainlink has done since. So I want to share with you, like, don't get frustrated and leave, because, man, versus selling here, 765, if they had just stayed in, essentially, that's 5x from a $7 Chainlink. And so they've missed out on some massive gains. And that's just since like September. So we're talking 6 months. They made 5x. And there were a lot of tokens. I'm picking Chainlink because it's one of the biggest in the DeFi run. Let's say there were other ones that had even bigger gains than Chainlink. But this was one of the biggest names during the DeFi run. And so even if we have some pullbacks, don't leave the space. One that I've been watching very closely, and it had a massive, massive run. It's now having a big pullback, and I'm using this pullback to pick up bigger positions. Now, I did make some entries on this at 7.5 cents, which is where this support line is right around 7.72 cents, sorry. And my hope is that it falls down to this support line. And I don't know if it will. So as it continues to fall, if it does continue to fall, I'll continue to make more acquisitions and pickups. That was my wife being sweet and bringing me some food. All right, so as it makes some fall offs here, I'm looking for good entries on OMI. Now, this token has done tremendously, even though it's only on Bit4x, Gate.io, and BitMax. And so it's really got relatively few exchanges. Now, there are some people get mad at me because I say OMI's a meme token, and they're right, that's only partially true. I mean, it's not so much a meme token, like Doge is a full-on meme token, that it's kind of like a joke, and there's no real team behind the development, as well as the tokenomics on Doge are terrible. But what I mean when I say meme token is it's got some of the benefits of a meme token in that there's a really huge token supply, which means a really cheap price per token. And the reason why that matters is as new people come in space, they look for something that's really, really cheap, even though the market cap might be really high. And so they don't understand. They're like, wow, I can get so many shares because they're new and they often refer to them as like they would stocks. So many shares for $1 or $1,000 will buy me so many. And they shouldn't value it that way. They're just new and they do. And so I know I refer to Komi sometimes as a meme token, even though they have really strong tokenomics. I love their tokenomics. I also like the development team and the licenses they're getting, and their app is continuing to be improved. They have some really cool NFTs, like some of the coolest NFTs out there. And so I'm not meaning to offend all of you that love OMI and you get offended when I call it a meme token. What it is I was thinking about this when Doge pumped to 2 cents like 7 or 8 months ago, and I thought, what tokens out there actually have strong tokenomics that I think the younger generation will totally get behind and pump it up to some really high prices? And so my answer at the time was Holochain was one of the best for that, and it has actually seen massive growth. So when I was buying it in December and November, it was super cheap price per token, and it's gone up tremendously, and it still actually could have a lot of room to grow, but it's doing a pullback now after some massive gains, just like Ecomi is doing a pullback after some massive gains. And so Ecomi is one of the big ones that I'm buying for that, even though its market cap is already over $1 billion. I just think this still has a long ways to go, and so I'm looking for good pickups on it. What you do, up to you. So that's just what I'm doing. All right, another one that I've made some big pickups over the last couple, I didn't say last couple days because I didn't make any pickups while I was out of town, but Shadows. Now this is derivatives on Polkadot. So they're really... Polkadot network is not yet ready for things to run on it, and it's going to be a few months, but this market cap is only $11 million. And now they only have 1/4 of their supply in circulation, so realize their fully diluted market cap could be like $45 million. Still highly attractive to me. If you look at their two competitors, INJ, which is kind of like bigger brother, but it's also on the Ethereum network, though they talk about some cross-chain compatibility. And then the much bigger one is SNX, or Synthetics, which has a market cap in the billions of dollars. Now, my guess is, as long as the project delivers well on this, as Polkadot comes online, I think Polkadot will come online and be functioning well before Ethereum fixes some of their gas fee problems. And so I just think they're well positioned in this to have a chance to do exceptional. Now, I don't know if they will. They do have some very strong backers, some venture capitalists that are very smart behind them. So I'm just making my own guesses that this has the risk to return for me is very, very good. The risk, yeah, there's some risk there. I mean, Polkadot's not even out. You don't know, are they going to get a parachain? How's that going to work out? How are they going to interact with the Polkadot network? Are they going to be good programmers? How is that all going to play out? We don't know. They're positioned well, though, right time, right place, being derivatives on one of the most exciting chains and ecosystems coming out, the Polkadot network. So They did come out just like 90 days ago and from their IDO, and there was a lot of volume, and their price went up to close to $4. Now it's just having this big pullback because they're out of the hype cycle, which is when I like to buy, is when they're out of the hype cycle. Big pullback because some people bought in for 12 cents at the IDO, not to mention whatever pre-sale people paid for it. Which would be even cheaper than that. And they get some of their tokens unlocked, my guess is, every month. And so they've been selling, and it's continued to bring the prices down to prices I wasn't sure we would hit. So I've continued to make additional buys here and still looking for more, especially if it keeps coming down. Though I'm ecstatic about the prices that we're seeing, even at $1.20. Not bad, though hopefully it continues down this trend line and it goes down from here. That would be fantastic. So just some pickups I'm making. I did tell you guys about the Major League Baseball with Topps. It's hard to show you how price action has done in general, but if you were able to get packs, the premium packs at that sale, you paid $100 a piece for them. And right now these are the cheapest selling, $672. So they have 6x from just 10 days ago. Now I was sitting there trying to buy some. I wasn't even able to buy some. My transaction, I don't know, they reimbursed it. I bought 10 of these, and they would only let you buy 10 at a time. I had one transaction go through, which then they decided, nope, we oversold, and so we're going to reimburse everyone whose transactions happened after such cutoff space. So my full one got reimbursed. Yeah, so they have done tremendously. I do know some of my subscribers got some, so congratulations to you. I don't know exactly where these will go, but I know there's a lot of stuff coming out in the NFT space, and that 2 months ago, everyone was like, NFTs, NFTs, NFTs are huge. I'm very selective because there's going to be a lot of junk trash NFTs, and then there's going to be some that do really well. And one of the bigger differentiators, not the only differentiator, is the licenses. And so NBA Top Shots, I made a gamble on it when it was fairly new about 7 months ago, and I spent about $1,100. And that $1,100 at the peak of NBA Top Shots' recent run went up to $180,000 or $185,000, I don't remember, as measured by moment ranks. Now, it's having a really solid retracement after such a huge run. I think the value has come all the way down to $70,000 for those exact same cards. And that's a healthy retracement. My guess is NBA Top Shots will have another run coming from here. But what I wanted to do was try to get a bunch at actual initial offering prices, and it's too bad I missed out on getting that, but I know many of you were able to get through because there was far more demand than they had supply, creating a phenomenal return. I did pick up some packs on the resale market and open them up. I was buying them before I left for vacation, and they were going for about $270. So they've more than doubled even since then in the last number of days. Now at these prices, are these great prices? I don't know. Could see a retracement from this, but people are opening these packs. Some of the resale cards are starting to sell. In fact, I heard that one of the top baseball players, in fact, the number one baseball player, Mike Trout, that one of his very rare cards, rare cards, and it was the number one mint, sold for $82,000. My guess is down the road, that's $1 million card. So whoever bought it did pretty good on that. And the person who was lucky enough to get that in their pack did really well on it too. So if you're not into collectibles, I don't blame you. I just, as a kid, I watched collectibles a lot. So that knowledge is good, though I don't continue to watch sports. That knowledge from what the years of collecting as a kid just has helped leverage that. So the NBA stuff did pretty darn well for me. And I think some of these Topps ones will do pretty well too. We'll see how it plays out. Do watch for the MMA stuff. So the same people behind NBA Top Shots, they have some MMA cards or some MMA moments that should be coming out in, who knows, the next few months. I'll be watching closely for that. Highly interested in that. Overall, I want to thank all of you for joining me. And I'm going to leave you with our song from Manuela, who did this for you rainmakers out there. Rainmakers are those who subscribe to the channel and they like every one of the videos to help it grow. The bigger vision for this is I am an investor, and I realized that just as an investor, I wasn't able to get the devs from the different projects to respond to me for my deeper questions that I had for them, because I want to know more about the project and the active development of the team than I was finding. And so as I reach out to them, they weren't really responding to me. I realized I needed to find a way to try to create a good channel for you so that you would subscribe, so that together we'd have a bigger group to be able to get the attention of the devs, so that I could have them on and ask them questions and share all of that with you. And that has been coming to fruition thanks to all of you who have joined. I've had many of the great teams out there that I've wanted to talk to come on, and I'm still making connections so that I can have even better and better information to bring to you so that we all get ahead. So every time you watch one of my videos and like it, it really helps me grow this channel, which helps get me access to even better information, bring better information to you. So I do want to thank each of you that have helped me in that vision. And if you haven't already, join our Telegram channel. We are doing a giveaway for May, having hit 10,000 subscribers. We're at 10,200. We're doing a giveaway, and I'm giving away up to $1,000 total of the Wand Chain token. And in order to enter that giveaway, join the Telegram channel, which if you go on the videos and see more, you'll be able to join the channel there. There's a link to it. And then you want to reach out to Top Notch, who's one of my admins, and you want to tell him what your price prediction is. You want to give him your price prediction for the end of May, what Wand Chain's price will be. And I'm all about people learning how to chart, and so hopefully you'll follow some of my videos on Wand Chain, and that you'll break out the charting tools and you'll make your best guess, because the top 7 guesses are going to get shares of that. So the top 3 are going to get $200 worth of Wand Chain each, and then the 4 after that, who are the closest, are each going to get $100 worth of Wand Chain from both me and my admins. We put together that prize pool to thank all of you. Now, will we have more prizes down in the future? Yes, and as we grow bigger, those prize pools will get a lot bigger. So I do want to thank each of you for joining me. We will see you next time.
Is falling, flowing like rain. The timing's right, we're getting paid. Come on, Rainmakers, let's make this happen.